everyone! Today we're looking at Unit 4, Lesson 5, and we are specifically looking at finding the surface area of pyramids. In Lesson 4, we talked about, what is a pyramid? And we learned that it could be any polygon as a base, and the other faces are triangles that meet at a vertex. Well, now we're going to be able to find the surface area of this. We're going to use exactly what we know from Unit 2 and in Unit 4 and apply it here. So just based looking at this, I can see and notice that there are 5 sides. So this is a pentagonal pyramid, not a prism. That'd be different. A pentagonal pyramid. I see that there is a perpendicular distance from the edge to the center of 5 centimeters, which is basically like when I say in class, what's the distance to the center? And the length of that base is 6 centimeters. So when I do this whole thing, it would be 5 multiplied by 6 divided by 2. Remember, I'm just finding one of the triangles within this pentagon. I multiply that by 5 because there are 5 triangles, and I get an answer of 75 centimeters squared. That's the area for the base. Now time for the triangles. They have a base length of 6 and a height of 6. Remember to find the area of a triangle. It's base times height divided by 2. So I would multiply 6 times 6 divided by 2, and that's 36 divided by 2, which is 18. I now need to multiply by 5 because it's 18 plus 18 plus 18 plus 18 plus 18, or I can multiply and do 18 times 5, and that's because I have 5 other triangles. When I multiply that out, I get 90 centimeters squared. My final step is to add them together. So 75 plus 90, or 90 plus 75, and I would get a final answer when I bring down the 5 of 165 centimeters squared. So that's the total surface area of that pentagonal pyramid. Let's look at another one. This, I can tell by the base and the measurement, it's the same on all sides. It's a square pyramid, not a squaregonal, squaretacular. That's not a word. It's a square pyramid. The base, I would multiply 4 times 4 and get an answer of 16. I don't have to divide, I don't have to multiply anything else because it is a square. So I know that the base of these triangle little flappies is 4 because they share that with the base of the square, and I multiply that by 6 and I divide by 2 to get the area for 1. So it's 24 divided by 2, which equals 12. So it's like saying 12 plus 12 plus 12 plus 12. So 12 times 4, and that equals 48. I add the 16 to it to find the total surface area, and I get an answer of 64 centimeters squared. So that's the total surface area for the base and the other triangles. So this is another way it could be drawn. This is looking for the total surface area of a square pyramid. So I know all the sides are even, with a height of 8 inches and a base of 5 inches. The cool part about a square pyramid is that I know that when it says a base of 5 inches, that's it for one side, but it's going to be the same side on the other 3 sides because it is a square. The measurement is the same all around. So to find the base, I would multiply 5 times 5, which is like the length and the width. So that's easy. That's 25. Woo, we got that. To find the area of the triangles, remember I start with 1. It has a height of 8 and a base of 5. So I multiply 8 times 5 and I get 40. I almost wrote 4. I was thinking about the number of triangles. And once I divide that out, I get 20 inches squared. But that's for 1. Do you guys remember how many triangles there are on a square pyramid? 4. The answer is 4. So I could say 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20, or I can multiply by 4 and get 80. So now I need to add my base to this. So 80 plus 25 equals 105 inches squared. These things, when we are looking at pyramids and prisms, they take a lot of work, but I know that if you take your time, you'll feel really successful. So find the total surface area of an octagonal pyramid. So that's 8 with a height of 10 inches. I'm going to draw it on here. And I have to click my pencil. A height of 10 inches and a base of 4 inches. So I have that labeled. The base has a distance to the center of 5 inches. So I'm going to draw it on here, and that's 5 inches. Wow, this is overwhelming looking at this picture, but don't worry, we're going to walk through it. So for my base, I know it has a distance to the center of 5 inches, right? So it's 5, and I multiply it by the length, right? 4. I know these things. And I would divide that by 2. So 5 times 4 is 20. I divide that by 2 and I get 10. So that's it for one triangle. Because I'm working with an octagon, I'm going to multiply that by 8. Remember, I take that number that I find and I multiply by the total number of triangles in that base. So for the base itself, it's 80 inches squared. So for my triangles, I would take my height, which is 10, and I multiply it by the base, which is 4, and I divide by 2. So 10 times 4 is 40, divided by 2 is 20. I multiply that by 8 because it's an octagonal prism, and I get 160. My final step is to fill this in as an addition problem. So 0 plus 0 equals 0. 8 plus 6 equals 14. Carry the 1. 1 plus 1 equals 240 inches squared. Do not feel overwhelmed by this. We'll walk through it again in class, but always come back here to find some reassuring help. I know you can do this, and I even wrote it on the paper. You got it!